Hello from Budva again, the non-honking capital of the world.
Hello, I'm Leslie, this is Jason. We are early retirees that are just traveling around, and this is our personal video diary that we keep just to keep records for ourselves.
I'd say it's quiet. There's not a lot of honking.
It's been a light day of honking, but I'm sure we'll hear it. Tomorrow's our last day. We leave Budva, so we've been here 27 days, I think. And we're gonna go spend one night in Skoder on the way to Tirana. And we last did a video at the end of May, so we're just gonna record our thoughts and what we've done since then. And
Okay.
talk about what we first did.
We went to...
Say how you say.
I say Satinji.
And I think it's more like Satinia.
I'm sure it is.
But yeah, so we went to Satinji.
Satinji. And it was a nice city. It was quiet.
It was the former capital of Montenegro up until the early 50s.
I think so.
It was so peaceful. We went on a Sunday, and maybe that was part of the peacefulness, but it was quiet. Birds were chirping. You didn't hear motorcycles honking. We did hear honking once before we left.
Yeah.
I told Jason it was like a reset to my central nervous system after being in a city.
Yeah, you could walk on the sidewalks without parking on the sidewalks.
Yeah. And they had signs for their historical buildings, so that was really nice.
Mm-hmm. Old historical buildings, yeah. And it was an easy ride. The bus ride was easy. You just walked up, asked the dude for tickets. He gave us tickets. We got on the bus.
And it was air conditioned.
Yeah.
We decided blurring the Albania, what we've heard, the dreaded bus experience, and let that bleed over into how we felt about Montenegro. And I do believe the bus service, like they give you a ticket, and like we actually bought our tickets a day ahead of time, and it was no problem. I don't think they oversell the buses like they do in Albania sometimes, so it was really nice. We climbed up to some grave. One grave. I forget who he was. A priest of some sort.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
Loved the monastery. What was really cute when we got there, of course, we get out at the bus station. The first thing is people are like, taxi, taxi. And we're like, no, but they had a map of Satinje. So we just went over there to look at it, to kind of get our bearings. And the town is not big at all. And the taxi driver came over and he's like, here you are. You want to go up here. This is what you want to see. And he's pointing out all this stuff. And, skeptical people that we are, I thought he's going to be like, I'll take you there. But he was like, that you can walk everywhere. I think he basically was telling us. And so he's like, go down the street, turn this way.
Not what you want to tell people when you're selling your taxi. You need a taxi. I'll take you on a tour.
Yeah. So we start walking down the street, and I didn't pay enough attention to what street we were supposed to turn on. So we're kind of like debating, and I look back towards the bus station, and a different taxi driver that had been there, but not the guy that spoke to us, is at the very edge of like the parking lot doing this big, giant like hand motion, wanting us to turn down that street. So he had been watching to make sure we went the right way. So it was really sweet. I liked it. And I felt like as we travel, we keep thinking about where we might be able to live outside of the United States. That town, although very small, would be close to the capital of Montenegro, Podgorica, I can't say that. Close to the mountains, so there was like a state park and that cave there, and then it's not far from the beach. It was 40-minute bus ride, I think.
Yeah, it was close.
And you could drive there because it wasn't crazy.
Drive in the town.
In the town, yeah. They had a giant grocery store right on the outside of town.
It was quiet.
It was quiet. So I'm keeping that on my list
Okay.
as places to run away to.
Two kids.
But you thought that too, right?
Yeah, it was nice. It was quiet. It was a lot different than Budva. But that's all I thought about it, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really put a lot of thought into it. I didn't know we were talking about it as a place to move to.
I'm always thinking that.
So we were in Stingy, and
We came home.
yeah, and the ride back was easy.
50% of us was hangry,
Yeah.
so we left a little early.
Well, we'd also seen everything, kind of.
Well,
We were just walking, and
I thought there was lunch involved in the trip, and then
time frame
somehow
didn't
there
work out.
wasn't. And it's the one town that did not have like a window you could walk up and order a slice of pizza that we could find.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, we'll just get a piece of pizza, but
No, it's always much more than that.
yeah. So that was fun, and I enjoyed that.
Yep.
And then the next day, a couple days, we didn't really do much, but we were in Old Town, and we started seeing like a bunch of dressed up people. And at first I thought they're a wedding, but then we realized there were a lot of them, and they were younger.
This is because we walk around Old Town and
Every
go to the
day.
same spots and watch people.
Yeah, that's our nightly
That's fun.
ritual. To finish getting our steps in, we walked Old Town
Yes.
and have like 4 stops along the way where we watched people.
Lots of tourists.
So we realized,
Except for this is all local people.
yeah, so we realized it was probably some sort of prom, and probably being held at the fortress there has like a terrace and different things that looks, we know we saw them setting up for an event. So you tried to Google to see if it really was like a prom, but you couldn't.
No, but they do that here.
Yeah.
In the Balkans.
But there were
Do
rows
prom
of parents or people lined up that I think were parents, and they were
Yes,
cheering,
yeah.
and all the kids walked in by us in their dresses.
Yeah, and they take pictures of
And
them.
there was like a little band in the outside.
Yeah, they kept playing even after they were
Yeah.
gone.
So
Hmm.
it was an interesting cultural experience. We also we've been to the beach a few times. The first time we went to the dirty beach, and I didn't like it.
We went to the beach with the bigger rocks.
The bigger rocks, the gravel on the shore.
Smell of slight sewage maybe, or
Tinge.
something dirty. Yeah.
And Jason actually got in the water. I was disgusted, and I didn't have water shoes at that time, and I would not go in the water without water shoes. But the beach was, I mean, not like Albanian beach dirty, but I don't know how people like laid out a towel
Stayed there all day.
and stayed there. And there was no shade. You couldn't. It was not a beach club area. It was just like
Just a local beach.
the local beach where you don't have to like pay to be there. So we didn't stay long, and then we went down to Booby Beach, Mogren too.
Yeah.
But we have not seen boobies at Booby Beach.
No, just that one time.
Just the one time. And you did not get in the water there.
No, we just
We just sat
watched
there.
people.
Yeah. Then we were brave because we had a really successful trip to Sakatinia that we went to Petrovac, and that was an even shorter ride. And it's so cute.
Petrovac.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
The little seaside town.
Yes,
the
yes, it was
fortress.
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
The water was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yep.
I feel like the water seems clearer than when we got here. Like
Warm weather.
it's,
Sunshine.
you can see, well, we've been in the water, and you can be in 5 or 6 feet of water and see the bottom.
Mhm.
So it's really pretty. But Petrovac is just a tiny little, you call that a cove?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like a little
Yep.
cove with some hotels and restaurants, much like any town on the Adriatic, I think, but
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Very small.
It's like a mini Budva, actually.
Yeah, but nice.
Less crowded, no honking,
Cleaner.
cleaner. Nice walkway.
Quaint.
Yes, It was very nice. But we did the same thing. We were going to get lunch, and we didn't. We walked around.
And we didn't even get a piece of pizza. Which
Well, then the bus times were weird.
Yeah,
and,
I didn't check the bus time, so the bus was there in the morning, we're like once every hour, but then it looks like in the afternoon coming back, it was like every 2 hours. So if we didn't leave at
1:20.
we'd have to wait till 3:30. So
And being a small town,
yeah,
you would kind of be sitting there in the heat. So anyways, we saw everything anyways.
well, they had a Roman ruin
Mosaic.
of a mosaic floor that was supposed to be open because it's actually preserved in a wall
Enclosed case.
glass
Mm-hmm.
building with a roof, and it was supposed to be open, but
Surprising. They had signs from the bus station, but the signs stopped.
right before you got there. So
Yeah. Enough that we walked the wrong way, and then we saw some other people walk the wrong way before they discovered it. Yeah. Because it's kind of hidden in amongst the new buildings.
and like down a dirt road,
Down
not even a road, like looked
a
like a
little dirty
parking
path
area.
that-
Yeah,
And it was closed, and it was supposed to be open.
it was from what, the 3rd or 4th century.
Yeah.
It looked really nice.
You could look at the windows.
Yeah.
And there was stuff there where the lady was supposed to be sitting there.
She was
And the
she
sign said
or
it was
he.
she or he.
Um,
It depends. What was
and then we found right before we left a walking path, which I kind of had read about, but you had to walk up the hill, of course, and it ran along the ocean, and then it had several tunnels, and we didn't get to the end, but you had read about that it was probably right around the corner at a hotel,
almost
a
there.
hotel that wasn't finished.
Yeah.
One tunnel we call pee tunnel because
Honestly, that's where
everyone, there were about 1 million tissues lining the
Yeah.
walls and pee
It wasn't a very good place to pee.
In fact.
Yeah, we peed. I think everybody thought that though. If you're
Yeah.
walking on that trail, they don't have public restrooms.
Yeah.
So
And we didn't stop to eat anywhere, so. And I
Yeah.
wasn't sure the bus station had a bathroom.
yeah, it did, didn't it?
You said it might have been outside.
Yeah, I don't know. Something else I was going to say about that, but anyways. Go ahead.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We had a nice day.
Yes, it was nice.
I liked it.
Bus
Then-
ride back was uneventful.
Yeah. Then the next day was a wonderful day.
Anniversary.
It was our
26th anniversary.
26th wedding anniversary. Oh,
That takes a good man.
it takes a really
How do
good
you finish
woman.
Takes a good man and a crazy woman.
So we didn't really do anything that day special, but we decided there was a restaurant in Old Town, called Pasta Bar, near the walls, and we're like, yeah, it looks okay.
They don't have menus online for a lot of places
Yeah,
here.
unless people have taken pictures of the menu and put it on Google, you don't really quite know, but pasta is easy.
Yeah.
That was fine.
And we had gone the night before and
For a couple days, we
couple
looked
days
at the
before.
menu.
And it was crowded though.
Yeah.
There were people actually waiting to get in, so that was a good sign that
Mhm.
it might be pretty good.
So it was right up against the wall, which seems charming.
Mm-hmm.
And we found a seat, and Jason had his back directly against the old wall. And
It was
I
a
look
little-
over.
Little cubby hole.
Yeah,
It was a nice little
it
cubby
was
hole
snug.
seat. Yeah.
And I look over, and he's got, was it 2 ants crawling on your shirt?
Yeah.
There were ants on the table. You had an ant on your leg that you didn't tell me about till later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think
2.
we need to move. You're like, it's okay. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. I had little ants.
So we moved to a different table, which was a better location.
Mhm.
We could I could also people watch because I was staring at a wall at the
Yeah.
first location. And we sit down, and I go to scoop my chair up, and I pinch my finger, and it starts bleeding. It's the smallest little thing, like a little piece of skin came off. and it bled pretty much like the entire meal.
We didn't need red sauce.
And then they were setting up, we don't know why, but there was some type of religious thing, I think.
There were two big giant grasshoppers.
Oh, there were grasshoppers.
Big ones. They had giant grasshoppers.
We paid €4.50 for,
The biggest thing of water we've ever gotten, though.
with a liter, or a liter and a half.
I don't know.
But we believe it was tap water with lemons in it.
Yeah.
It didn't come in a bottle, which was,
But it was enough water.
yes.
Oh, and you didn't finish about the food being.
The food was meh.
Yeah.
It was fine.
I mean, it was okay. Yeah.
Like you had seafood pasta.
It didn't taste like seafood pasta.
I had
You had
gnocchi with
gorgonzola and red sauce.
no, yeah, and spinach, but it didn't taste very much like gorgonzola, which is what I wanted.
Oh, we ordered bruschetta and.
Oh, yeah, there was no mozzarella, even though it was called bruschetta, mozzarella, and pesto. It was just tomatoes,
And some
arugula.
and pesto. There was a little bit of
There was
pesto.
pesto, a
But
little,
it wasn't
yeah.
great.
So anyway, the meal was not superb.
Nah, but nothing.
Well, and then they were setting up this event somewhere inside the old town. And the entrance is so small, they have to load everything on carts. So it ended up being like a stadium seating, because we saw it later. So they're loading all these metal tubes and things right outside the wall where we're sitting.
Yeah.
So it's every 10 minutes when they would come back, they're clanging.
At least it wasn't honking.
It wasn't honking, but I wouldn't call it a romantic dinner or a very good dinner. But
It was eaten out.
it was fine. I didn't have to make some gross food that I didn't like here.
Some frozen chicken, fish, or.
Yeah.
Although now we found shrimp, which is much better.
It is good. And then we went to, I'm going to call it Basisi Beach. That's not how you pronounce it.
Which is the beach, the next beach over.
Yeah.
From the whole town of Budva.
So you have to kind of go through, well, we do go through a tunnel, but I think it's a tunnel / underneath that hotel.
Mm-hmm. Walking tunnel.
Yeah.
No, well, the occasional motorcycle.
Yeah. And it's what, 2.5 miles, I think.
Walk there, probably.
Yeah. So it's about a 2.5 mile walk. But the beach is sand, chunky sand, but sand. The rocks in the water are not like bouldery. It's cleaner. And we did go to a beach club, so we paid €15 for a chairs and an umbrella, which was great. I bought water shoes, so I did get in the water the first day.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Once, yeah.
Once I got in, and then the other time I got in just a little bit. And then we went back yesterday, I think. And I went in 3 times. I wanted to get my money's worth for my
for
water
your shoes.
shoes.
Because we had to buy water shoes.
Yes, we had to. But it was nice. I really enjoyed it. It felt like we were on vacation.
Yeah, it was nice. Water's freezing cold, which is surprising, but
Not freezing.
well, it's pretty cold. You would think it's warmer. You would think.
I don't think it's freezing. You get in and it's like a little cold, but then you stand there
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like air temperature.
I would expect it to be warmer, I guess.
Yeah.
Based on where we're at.
But it's really, the water is so clear.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. I really like it. I'm not a huge fan of large bodies of water. So it's sort of Caribbean-ish in that you can see the bottom, and that makes me feel better about it versus like.
That's what I mean by it's cold. I think because you can see through and you're thinking this is going to be like the Caribbean,
Yeah.
and then it's like. Grrr.
But people do snorkel there.
Yeah, they do. You could snorkel. It's just I think it gives you this thought that the water is going to be
warmer.
yes.
And then other than that, we knew this was going to be bad, but it ended up being worse than we thought. We went to the Citadel in Budva, which we had read
Was terrible.
was terrible. But we didn't
Don't
really,
waste your money.
didn't really have anything planned. So I'm like, let's just go. And I thought it was gonna be €5. It was €5.50, so we paid €11, and it really is bad. It's 2 rooms with books behind glass cases.
Yeah, I mean, some of the books look interesting, but
you can't,
it's not like they call it a library, but it's not a library.
You can't touch a book. And then the outdoor space, and some of it overlooks a little bit of Old Town, but
they call it panoramic views of Budva. It's not.
I disagree.
Yeah, you can go get that for free if you just walk up the street.
In fact, we were on our way out and we had one more room to visit, and another tourist stopped us and he's like, do you know where the museum is?
Because they advertise it as a museum.
And a collection of old ships as 2 separate things. And I was like, I don't really think there is one. He's like, all these are rooms with books. And I was like, yeah, I kind of think that's it. So as we're going downstairs, we hear the lady from downstairs say, the museum is over in the small door on the right. And it was,
I mean, it was half the size.
12 by 10
Yeah.
Stone room.
And the old ships turn out to be
like models
of ships that are,
and there might have been a dozen of
and
them.
It's dark and you can't read any of it anyways.
And the guy was in there and I said, oh, you found the museum, and he was gonna laugh.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was a waste of money.
Which we had avoided the entire time, but
Yeah.
I guess we were bored and
Yeah,
decided to
we'll
do it.
go. And you could walk the wall there,
Yeah.
which I really like doing.
The
but
city wall.
It's a very short city wall you can walk for €2.
In addition. Yeah.
And really it should have been included. But so we did not walk on the city wall because we had seen.
And you can see it. Yeah, you don't need to do any of
It's
that
best
stuff.
for people that would be there for like a day or 2, and you could go up and look around. And
Yeah, or if you just came for a couple hours, it might be a good view.
yeah, and it normally has a restaurant that has like that sitting area out on the water, but they were setting up for an event.
Yeah.
So that was closed.
That
You
was
couldn't
closed.
even-
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
false advertisement.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that
The sign is like, you look
It's
at
the
the
best
sign.
place in the world. And they had the restaurant
Yeah.
menu out, like the big stand.
Fine dining is what it said.
Yeah, and the woman as you came in said really quickly, library, museum, overlook or something,
Yeah.
whatever she called it. But what she was trying to say is that the restaurant's closed, but she wasn't like clearly telling people that. So I don't know how many people ended up paying and then not
Well, we
able to go to
watched
the restaurant.
a lot of people
went in and
walked
came
in
back
and
out.
came back out. $5.50, especially when it used to be $5, and then they're like,
Yeah.
let's
Check on
check
another
out the price. Yeah.
And then Sunday was
Weird.
odd. Our doorbell rang, and then immediately a woman opened the door with a key. And it was apparently a cleaning lady for our apartment owner, and she went to the wrong apartment. And it was dead, like right at 10 o'clock, and that's when checkout is.
Yeah.
And she said to you, 10 minutes.
Yeah, she rang the doorbell, and within seconds was turning the key because you have to turn it 5 times. And you could hear it unlocking, and I'm like standing there, and she opened the door, and she looks at me and says, oh 10 minutes. Like I had 10 minutes to get all my stuff and get out.
Yeah.
And I said, for what? I thought she's here to fix the internet.
Yeah. Yay! But
I should have invited her in. It's over
Yeah.
here.
I mean, our internet works, but
Yeah, it
it's
works.
still
but
not right.
It's just a
Um,
yeah.
But I ended up emailing our Airbnb guy because I was like, I know it was a cleaning lady,
Well, what
but
she did then was she got on the phone. As I was standing there, she's standing in the hallway looking at me, and she gets on her phone and dials somebody and says a bunch of words, and then she said I went like this and started walking down the hallway, and she said a bunch more words, and then she came back and said sorry.
And Jason
I
laughs.
said you.
Jason laughs at me because like right next to the doors, this little like a cabinet, like a storage cabinet, and you can pull the door down. And if you do that, you can't open the door. So every
door
night,
barrier.
yeah, every night I pull this thing down, and he kind of thinks I'm ridiculous, but whatever. And I was like, there are reasons I do the things I do, but
Anyways,
it's fine.
the guy didn't care.
No, I sent him a message. I was like, a woman with a key just came into our apartment, and I find that a bit concerning. Do you know who this is? And he's like, oh, it's a cleaning lady. She probably went to the wrong apartment. No problem, you know, like, so.
And it just is hard for us to realize that crime is not, we're Americans, so we're used to crime
Yeah.
and killing.
So like at the beach is a really good example. I have carabiner things. So I took our bag, I tied up the lid, I wrapped it all around the chair with a carabiner, and the backpack did the same thing with the carabiner, have all our shoes on top. And the first day I kept looking from the water. Everyone else just gets up and like a lot of people hang their bags inside the umbrella. They walk away for sometimes an hour because they go get like lunch or something. It's
we would never do that.
no, and it's hard to realize like we were saying, the guy doesn't like, he's like, it's no big deal because he lives in a country where there really is a low crime rate.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
But we are Americans, and we think they're going to come and kill us or steal our money or our computers. But anyway, it's a very safe city. I mean, you see kids often out on their own.
It's a different style of parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
kids are allowed to do things.
Yeah, it's probably like the 70s.
70s and 80s.
Yeah. But, and then we walked up to the fortress again that day, and it was hot.
Yeah, very
hot. It's getting very hot.
Very humid, actually.
Yeah, hot, humid. When we go to Tirana, it's going to be in the 90s, and I may die.
I feel like Arizona, just do things.
Morning and evening.
Morning and evening. Not like Arizona with humidity, but
Yeah.
like Arizona hot.
And my sweating is just unreal. Stupid hormones. Or no hormones. What else? Oh, I did record some. It's weird. We've noticed that there are very few waitresses. We've seen a few, but most restaurants, it's men.
Waiters.
So that's kind of odd.
Although the places that we went, we can talk about that, but we went to Eatsy and had a female waitress.
We did have a female waitress.
And gloves for hamburgers again.
I tried it. It's weird. So I took it off. You're like, do I wipe it off?
Yeah, do you like it?
Because mine had like a liquid cheese or something on it.
Yeah. Anyways, takes some getting used to gloves with hamburgers.
my burger was like slippery, so then to top that with like slippery gloves.
Yeah.
Anyway, there aren't a lot.
It's like eating with chopsticks.
Yeah, I can't do that either. There are still we haven't seen any people really exercising. I saw a girl running yesterday, but I think we've seen probably 5 or fewer people running. Again, you would have miles you can run along the ocean, and
if it were the U.S., there would be people running up and down. But
they do. The bros go to like the outdoor gym, where they have like the pull-up bars and things like that. But it's weird. There's no like power walkers like you would see at the beach.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, not a thing. And then the weird T-shirts.
Yeah.
So Calvin Klein
is doing well.
Has had a rebirth from the, 90s. What else do we see?
Bart Simpson, which is
Simpson.
unusual. Levi. I saw Levi Paris.
I saw Levi's look-alike. It said Levi 501, but it said, what looked like Levi, but it said Live.
Yeah.
And I'm like, was that a printing error? Or and there's a lot of like weird shirts with English that really don't make sense.
Yeah.
like whatever they say.
Or they write like some long statement about dreaming, and living your dream. Like it's weird stuff.
And the
But we found
super dry.
Yeah. What was super dry?
Let me see super dry.
Oh yeah,
shirts.
super dry. And Florida,
Yeah,
Miami,
so the New Yorker clothing store,
which we went to.
which we went to and looked at all the t-shirts.
And
They
we-
sell the Florida one.
And that's who everybody gets their t-shirt from apparently, because you see
Yeah.
the same ones over and over.
And the t-shirts here are probably what the quality of, again, our t-shirts from the 70s. They're like really thick and
Yeah,
I think it would be hot, but
yeah, you
it's,
think it would be hot.
yeah, so there's lots of weird lots of weird
Yeah.
t-shirts. And we saw that Harley group, what were they? Banditos
Yeah, banditos.
from Serbia
Yep, Serbian banditos.
on their Harleys, and the vest and everything, so that was fun. But,
Mm-hmm. Guess that was it.
so, how would you say you liked our time in Budva?
I would say it was good.
You didn't say fine.
It was fine. Yeah. Oh, it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's the same as anywhere else, I think. I mean, the food's not very good, but I don't think the food's going to be anywhere good except for what we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just another thing of you're constantly searching for familiar. So when you're looking at food, you're always thinking, this is going to be it. This is going to be that hamburger I've been looking for, and it never is.
No.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, because we're not in the United States. Yeah, I like Budva. It's busier than I thought.
Especially
Certainly.
now, the last week.
Yeah, the tourism has really, really picked up.
It's the first beach week. Really.
Yeah. And it is pretty walkable, but there's not a lot of places to walk to.
Yeah,
And then you start
'cause-
walking in the neighborhoods, and then the sidewalk runs out, or it becomes parking,
there's
and then you're
cars.
walking in the middle of the road. So that kind of makes it,
But that was the same in Albania.
yeah. I mean, it's better than Albania for
Yeah.
walking, for sure.
Yeah.
I did like the walk, our regular walk in Albania, better than what we had here, but
But there's more people to watch
there's
here.
some really good people watching here.
It's a trade-off.
I think our apartment, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but just because we've had these little
Someone coming in, the internet.
like the towels are kind of crappy,
Yeah. The shade for the door doesn't
go all the way
work all
up.
the way.
The door didn't shut right when we first got here, and 3 days ago, the whole inside like tubing
Yeah.
that like
Rubber
keeps airtight
gas.
thing, fell off. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Well, we fixed it, so now the door shuts really
Yeah,
well.
it's back to work. So that was the problem the whole
Yeah.
time. We used to fight.
Yeah, like you had to push it, and I
Yeah.
was like, we're gonna break this door because you can't get it shut.
And sure enough, we broke it.
And fixed it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so just the apartment's different.
in Tirana, I'm looking forward to it because there should be a lot to do. But we'll have to do the grocery store
Shuffle.
shuffle for the first few days. And
At
I'll
least
do,
we know what they are. Big Market and Spar.
and I do
Conan.
still stand by, I feel like 3 weeks would be my sweet spot for staying somewhere.
Yeah.
But due to
Airbnb.
Airbnb discounts for 28 days,
You're stuck for 28 days.
yeah, because 28
Which is
days
good.
is cheaper than 3 weeks, so normally. So,
But it's the same thing if you don't at home. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
oh, happy early Father's Day to Gary
Yep.
and to my dad
Happy
who won't
Father's
say
Day.
this. So, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.